article in realnews.com is asking this question. Can a progressive black woman become Georgia's next governor? And my immediate answer is yes. If the person is running as an actual progressive and coming up with helping working class people, it can. 32% of Georgia is black, and there are large parts of Georgia that are very white and very conservative and even heavily racist. But this is the thing I've been talking about on this show. If you deal with actual working class people's issues of all ethnicities, working class people of any ethnicity, you can win. You can win. So this article goes into asks some interesting questions. And one of the things it brings up is how, so many areas in the South and neighborhoods and communities in the South have been completely neglected by the Democrats. Right? Former Georgia State Assembly Minority Leader Stacey Abrams is looking to embrace the enthusiasm and energy in the Democratic Party's grassroots to become the first African-American woman governor in the United States. I didn't know that. Never been a black woman governor. Too many families are being left out and left behind, and that they really aren't seen by their government, and that at a time when some parts of Georgia are doing well, there are too many communities that are suffering, that have lack of access, or they just aren't doing well as they should. Stacey Abrams said in an interview with Real News Network, "We need a governor who believes that everyone is entitled to that success, not just select communities and the right zip code." An attorney and political strategist based in Georgia gave an interview with the Real News Network. "We cannot tolerate Democrats who dog whistle instead of dealing with their own discomfort and building a multiracial coalition in the South. I look forward to seeing if Democrats pull together and give voters something meaningful to be a part of instead of just simply catering to moderate suburbanites who may ultimately put party over people." Wow, that's good. I'd love to see that, right? Here's what happens. In Georgia, 32% of the state's population is black, yet many black communities in Georgia and across the country have been ignored or taken for granted by the Democratic Party. This is the thing that came out that was talked about after Doug Jones won in Alabama. Even Charles Barkley said it. Charles Barkley said that the Democratic Party has just taken black people for granted. Nina Turner said this during the 2016 campaign. When Hillary Clinton just said, "Oh, that's my firewall, the black vote." I got them for granted. And it was the lowest black turnout in 20 years for Hillary Clinton, just to show you how out of touch she is and how out of touch the Democratic Party is. So in Georgia, the Democratic Party has been relatively weak in many parts of the state. Republicans have held a trifecta of power in the state since 2005, the majority of the state Senate, state House, and governorship. Prior to 2005, the Democratic Party held a trifecta in Georgia between 92 and 2005. 10 out of 14 congressional districts in the state and both U.S. Senate seats are held by Republicans. You want to know why they've been able to do that? In 2016, Georgia Democrats didn't field enough candidates to even contest for the majority in the state House or state Senate. 4 out of the 10 Republican incumbents ran unopposed in 2016. This is the Democrats' stupid policy. Well, we can't win in a red district. It's too red. We won't even oppose them. You're so dumb. Yeah, you can't win with your bullshit identity politics. You can't win. But maybe if you had actual, progressive policies, maybe that would incite people even in red districts. As was said by Sam Ronan in the interview I conducted with him, he made a good point of why he's running as a Republican in these red districts. He's pitching all of these progressive ideas, and because he's a Republican, they'll actually listen. If the Democrats aren't even trying, this is why I'm so happy to see people running and trying to primary corporate Democrats out there on the scene. I'm really excited to see this. And like Allison Hartson, I've talked about, she's going up against Dianne Feinstein here in California. Dianne Feinstein, who still has not voted to keep net neutrality. Interesting. So this is what the Democrats do. They run unopposed and they're out, Georgia, we can't win. They don't even try. This is why I'm in favor of opening the primaries, because this is why once you get to the general, it's almost too late. If you let real and had a top 2 runoff, you could maybe have some legitimate candidates. So maybe you'd say in a red district or a red state, well, you had two Republicans running against each other, so how is that good? Well, if one of the Republicans is an incumbent and the other one is, let's say, a more progressive Republican, which there are such a thing, that's better than not even running anyone against the goddamn Republican. You don't even put up anyone out there. And the Republicans do this the same thing. They do this in super blue states too, like New York and Illinois and California. It's unbelievable. They didn't even run people again. Abrams has pushed to develop the grassroots infrastructure required for Democrats to compete across the state and help the influx of people inspired to run for office to oppose Trump. You got to have more than just opposing Trump. She founded the Blue Institute in 2015 to recruit and train people of color to become campaign staffers and get involved in the political process, and started the New Georgia Project, which has helped 200,000 people of color register to vote in Georgia despite efforts by Republicans in power to reject many of the voter registration applications. Yeah, they're pretty good at that. The Republicans don't want people of color to vote, and the Democrats don't want independents to vote, because independents tend to be progressive and they tend to not want to go along with corporate Democrat politics. Just so we're clear here, both parties do, redistricting, and they do voter suppression. Both parties do this. So it's interesting to see what this Stacey Abrams can accomplish, and if she's like a real progressive, and she believes that Democrats can win in Georgia without compromising progressive values. I hope she's right, and I hope she wins, and I hope she's a real progressive and puts real progressive policy in Georgia. I got family that live in Georgia. I'd love to see that. I've been to Atlanta, been to Athens. I like it. I'd like to see progressive stuff everywhere. I'd like to see working class people get more benefits and rights and services, as well they should. So I hope this happens. Thanks for watching the show. And don't forget to support me on Patreon, and go to grahamelwood.com for my tour dates starting January 14th every Sunday in January. We're going to be doing the First Nations Comedy Experience, an all Native American stand-up comedy series. I'm directing it and hosting it, and it's really cool. It's in San Bernardino. Ticket info is in the link below to my website at grahamelwood.com. Thank you so much.